This is the Gary Cantrell Podcast.
The Gary Cantrell Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Come on in, sit down, make yourself at home. We've got you a special edition today. One of those from the archives kind of deals. Y'all down with that? Well, let's do it. Okay, the year is 2013. This original interview that I'm about to play for you aired on March the 3rd, 2013. Taped in the last week of February, if I'm being completely honest. And it was with Steve McHugh of A&E's Barter Kings. Now, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times when we get bored, we're sitting around, we're watching TV, we're binge watching shows, usually on a channel like A&E. And one of those shows for me back in the day was Barter Kings. I followed Steve. I followed Antonio on Twitter. Back in these days, you could just get shit done by jumping on Twitter and going at Steve, Barter King Steve. Hey, dude, love the show. I do an internet radio program. Would you like to come on and hang out sometime? Sure. Done. That's what I loved about these guys, because you just reach out and things happen. They were actually very interactive with their fans online, which was very, very awesome. And so I got Steve on the show, and we had a great chat. There was a little bit of miscommunication or misunderstanding on my end. We were in the middle of the interview, and Steve said something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you'll know it when you hear it. And it made it sound like he had a limited amount of time to be on the show. I think he was talking about doing press, like, you know, traditional press, and how it's just these short interviews. And I said, oh my God, I've only got like 10 or 15 minutes with this guy. And so I pivot to a quick interview, and we're wrapping it up about 10 or 15 minutes in. He's like, oh, I can hang around, man. What are you trying to kick me out of here? Or he said something to that effect, and I started laughing. And I think I told him in the middle of the interview, it was either in the interview or it was after the interview when we talked. I was like, yo, man, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. It was a timing thing, and that's why I did what I did. But the interview ended up being fun and awesome, so much so that in August of 2013, I had him back on, but this time he was not alone. Oh no, he brought on my man, Antonio. Ba-bam! There, you gotta do the ba-bam. It's a lot of fun. Ba-bam! I love it. Anyway, at this time, I had a co-host. When I interviewed Steve the first time, I was flying solo on this show. And so by the time August rolled around, I had a co-host. His name was Chris. And so it's Chris and I interviewing Steve and Antonio. So you're going to hear that interview later after the first interview with Steve. We're going to do a little Barter Kings double header, double feature, whatever you want to call it. And let's go ahead and roll the tape now on my first chat with Steve McHugh of A&E's Barter Kings. Joining us on the hotline right now, we have Steve McHugh of A&E's Barter Kings. Welcome to the shoot, Steve. How are you?
I am doing awesome, man. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How's the weather out there in California? I'm a former California resident myself.
Somebody just turned it up to 80 today because it's hot and bright out.
Oh man, you lucky bastard! I'm dealing with like 45 and cloudy and just ugh. That's what I'm dealing with here in Washington. Sucks.
Yeah, you got to move, man. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I used to live in San Diego, and I lived there for a lot of my childhood, and it was great. So, anyway, so wanted to talk to you. Let's start with this whole, how did you get into the trading? When did you realize that this could become like a business for you? How'd you get into all that?
Let me preface that real quick by kind of telling you I'm conditioned for like 40-second answers because we do interviews in Singapore, Australia. They only have time for like 6 minutes. So I'll try to give you like an in-between version so you kind of get the gist of it.
Sure.
How we got started. It was almost out of necessity. We opened up a pawn shop, and we found out that you really need capital. You need money to loan money out. I mean, we got started with really no money at all.
Right.
And we found ourselves in a little bit of a quandary. That was about 5 years ago now, the timeline, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought all our garages, and we emptied them out on the pawn shop floor. and kind of said, what are we going to do now? And then people started coming in asking for money and loans, and we found out that we didn't have any.
Right.
So we said, you know what, nothing's selling. Let's figure something else out. So Antonio was in construction at the time, and we did a couple of things. We went to people's houses, and we saw that everybody had things in their garage that were just under tarps and just laying around doing nothing.
Right.
So we started being a little bit intrusive and asked questions, what are you doing with quads? What are you doing with this? What are you doing with that? And people said nothing. We can't afford to go to the river. We can't afford to go riding. So we started asking, hey, will you trade that? And, lo and behold, people said, yeah, we need a laptop. We need this. And that's kind of where the whole thing kind of surfaced from. There's a couple other things involved, but, dude, that's where it came from, man. It's just almost out of necessity.
Right. And how did you, get in with the whole TV show thing? I mean, is this an idea that you guys had and you kind of pitched it to people? Did A&E somehow find out about this and come to you? How does all that work?
Yeah, I'm not that smart, Gary, man. It all happened the other way. After about 2 years of doing the trading thing and the pawn thing, we started to get pretty good at it.
Right.
And, people started to find out and come to us, to our shop. And I used to do research with people and all this stuff. And one of my customers was actually already filming with the production company and A&E a show that they were calling Barter Wars at the time, like shipping wars, parking wars, storage wars.
Yeah.
And he referred me, and I went down for a semi-interview and told him that, I really don't want to do this, and I don't think I have the time. And they set up camp in our shop the next day.
Wow.
And, yeah, and it was the weirdest thing, man. And then I had like $10,000 worth of new camera lights in the shop. And what the hell's going on here, man? I couldn't, it was kind of hard to control. We filmed the pilot, and we pulled off some amazing things in the pilot. That was the speedboat episode.
Right.
And these guys were kind of just in awe, and they very shortly after told us it's no longer Barter Wars, it's Barter Kings, pal, and you guys need to do this every single day, and you're not going to do it at the shop anymore. You're going to go on the road. And we said, what? And what do you, at that point, Gary, we had 2.5 months invested, and at that point, they really weren't paying. So what do you say? You say no?
Yeah, exactly.
And we said, hell yeah, let's do it. So here we are.
And what has been the fan response? I see you guys are pretty interactive on social media. I would imagine you guys have got plenty of great feedback about the program.
Yeah, if you don't mind me taking like an extra 30 seconds here, I want to give you a little negative first, and then I'll give you the positive.
Oh, yeah, we got to have a negative. Come on, yeah, we got to have something juicy here.
I am not the type of guy that Facebook, Twitter, or social media. I'm just not that guy.
Okay.
I got started with it because I was told that long term, if you want to monetize anything, that you have to be somewhat involved. And I said, well, my plans aren't really to monetize anything, and of course that's changed and going to change. But I started reading blogs on the internet about the show and about me, and I found out that people that don't even know me have this hate for us in one fashion or the other, and I started to get really not depressed, but like withdrawn from even wanting to do it anymore because of the negative stuff on the internet, and it drove me a little bit crazy. And I made a decision after about the third day of reading that stuff that I was done. I'm no longer going to read the internet or do anything on it. And it so happens that Twitter actually kind of pulled me out of that little bad mindset because the Twitter fans are so awesome and so unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the positive is like 98% positive from the Twitter fans. That, dude, these guys and the people that support us on Twitter just kind of, I don't know if you want to call pulled me out of the slump, but that's what actually saved my mindset in this whole thing was the Twitter fans. And now I'm all in on social media and Twitter just because of the positive is so good versus the negative. So,
what is it, just a bunch of assholes? Oh, show's fake, these guys suck, that kind of stuff. Is that what you were seeing online?
You basically, yeah, dude. I mean, and the funny thing is what really set me off was a couple people even on Facebook said that Antonio was faking Tourette.
Oh, jeez.
And, dude, that sent me into the ozone because this guy, from 4 years old, this guy has fought every battle with Tourette and ADD and OCD and everything. He's got everything. He's got 9 stents in his heart. He's had 4 heart attacks.
Right.
And, and these guys are bashing him and Tourette, and they don't even know the guy. And that's kind of what sent me off was that couple people that said that. But yeah, in general, negative is never. I just don't deal with negativity anywhere in my life. I eliminate it as soon as I can. But that one almost got me. It almost got me.
Wow. Let's talk about something obviously more positive. With the trading, yeah, we'll switch it up here. What has been the greatest thing that you've traded up to? Was it the plane that we saw on the show a little while back, or has there been something bigger that we haven't seen yet, or what can you tell us about that?
Dude, I am vested in that red chopper. The speedboat was great because my kids are happy, my family was so jazzed, and
Right.
It was a great thing. It was a pilot, but that red chopper, I worked so freaking hard for that trade stuff to happen.
Yeah.
That thing is, that red chopper is the best thing. I mean, I do that cruise around that thing. I can't ride for more than 10 minutes because my hands hurt, but I mean, I pretend like I can.
Right.
And you go to the gym and stuff like that, ride it back home. It's just getting out in the open. That chopper is just it's the bomb, man.
That's incredible. And with this whole trading thing, I mean, I can imagine it's got to be pretty difficult because you've got to convince people to want to make the trade. And I mean, like, take something for instance, like the microphone I'm talking through. It's like a $200 microphone. What could you trade something like that up to? What do you think?
What do you got? A blue in front of you?
Nah, it's not a blue. It's like a AKG. Pretty nice mic. I mean, what could you trade that up to? Could you get me like a limousine with that thing, or like something? What could you get with that?
Dude, one trade at a time, man. That's why I try to tell everybody on my on Twitter and stuff like that. You don't know. I mean, we set goals and stuff like that, but the show doesn't show you that shit, man. There's probably 3 or 4 different times we started trade strings, and they just go nowhere. I mean, it is difficult, but once you get a little momentum and you get some excitement, it's amazing how your own confidence and compassion will get you. Because that mic might turn into a little DJ system from somebody else, and you just go $100 at a time, sometimes $500 at a time, and find out where you end up. Who knows, man? You might be able to turn that into a limo. I almost turned that one episode into a couple of limos, but they were pieces of crap when we got there.
Well, with the episode, we don't see the whole picture. I mean, how far out can these trades be spread? A couple of days, a couple of weeks? I mean, how long does it really take to get the right trade?
Sometimes the quickest one that we ever did was 6 days, and that one was just everything happened perfect. There's just no better trade string that we've ever done. But one of the episodes for the first 13 took almost 4 months to actually get done. Wow. I mean, from A to Z, it took 4 months to get the whole trade string done.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the balloon one.
Oh, the balloon, yeah.
The golf cart ended with a golf cart. It took a long time.
Wow. So you guys working on another season here? I know season 2 just wrapped up on TV. You got season 3 in the works?
What's funny is they haven't said anything specifically yet. I mean, we're talking to our production company, but I guess they're in limbo now. They're shipping us to Argentina on Sunday.
Yeah.
To do promos and interviews over there. I think we got like 85 interviews in like 5 days with. They sold it to 90 countries. I don't know if I have the lingo right, but it's in 90 countries now, and it's airing season 1.
Right.
And they're going crazy over there. So we're flying over there for 5 days to do some interviews and stuff, and I think we're going to talk when we get back.
I'm surprised they're not having you guys over there trying to do some trades and whatnot, man. Something over there in Argentina.
Dude, those people are excited, man. I love them. It's amazing because we did some stuff out here in Santa Monica, and they flew 35 reporters from different countries overseas and stuff. They were jazzed about the show, man. They saw the pilot, and they were more excited than we were. It was awesome. It was real cool.
Wow. Well, look, I know your time's really limited, so I'll keep it short here. But what's next for you guys? I mean, obviously we've talked about possibly another season. What else would you like to do? Maybe with your business. What's next for Steve?
I've debated that. I love. A lot of my Twitter fans know this. I love motivation. I love successful people. I love watching how business works, and I love being involved in the core aspects of why some businesses work and don't. I'd like to do some motivational speaking, business development type stuff with people, and coach and mentor, and maybe even do some physical fitness type programs to kind of correspond to that. But I think I want to go into that arena and get my feet wet a little bit to see if I like it. But I love positive people. I love being around them, and I want to do something with that motivational aspect of life. And I think that's I don't want to do it right now, but I think by the time I'm 50, I want to be all vested in some type of business that does that.
I like that. That sounds great. And you have to bring it out here to DC, man. Beers are on me.
Let's do it, man. I got another 10 or 15 minutes. If you got anything else that you want to talk about, dude, I'm game. So just let me know.
Right on, right on. Well, let me ask you this. Let's get some plugs too, because I want to make sure that everybody finds you and where to go to get everything Barter Kings, everything Steve. Go ahead and tell me, about your Twitter, your website, your Facebook, whatever you got.
Oh, awesome, bro. Thank you very much, man. My Twitter is Barter King Steve.
Right.
Obviously, Twitter. Facebook is a little weird. It's Steve McHugh, 1972, because all the other Steve McHughs were taken. That's the fan page, so anybody that could like that and then kind of correspond on that, that'd be awesome. And another big thing that we're doing right now, remember I told you that we were going to try to monetize something at some point?
Yes.
Besides trading, we're involved with a company called Tradeya.com, Tradeya. It's in the beta stages. It's testing right now. You can use it. You can trade on it. But what it's going to do for people is eliminate confrontation from the email correspondence on trading. So it actually date matches your trade. So if you have a speedboat and you want to trade it and you like gym equipment or X, Y, and Z, it will actually do the search for you on the site and send you offers directly without even the other person knowing, so that you can kind of see what's on there without having to spend 6 hours, researching it. So it's actually a real cool site.
Oh, wow. So is this your website, or are you just partnering up with these guys?
We partnered up with them. We met a real cool guy that kind of does some of the date matching in the business world, and he brought us together with Tradeya. And like I said, I'm all in with positive people, and it's a group of real positive people. They're getting some investors together now to make this thing blow up, and I'm excited about this. It's kind of one of the biggest things going on right now.
Well, it's probably got to be a lot easier than Craigslist, because you would probably know this a lot better than I. I mean, I've made some transactions on Craigslist, like buying phones or selling phones, something like that, and I got to imagine you probably have come across some crazy things on Craigslist, or maybe even crazy people.
Both, yeah, all of the above. And the worst thing about Craigslist, it's a great site because it does exactly what you need to do. But
sure,
is people get confrontational on it with offers, and for the most part, you're using a free site. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, if you're not going to pay for something, that's what you're going to get. So, Tradeya is free, Craigslist is free, everything in life right now is free. You just got to figure out how to utilize it. So, it's good stuff.
Do you have any specific stories of maybe a bad experience trading? Maybe not specifically to Craigslist, but anything you want to share? Maybe a trade that went wrong.
What's funny is that the one I would talk about was cool because of the end of it, and it actually made the episode because it had to. Was we drove 120 miles to L.A. to trade for 2 kids' quads, and I don't know if you remember the episode.
Yeah, the 2 quads.
And we got there, and the guy rolls out that little tiny Chinese quad and tells us that he sold the other one.
Right.
More rudely, by the way, than aired. They actually had him tone it down for the actual scene.
Right.
And we were kind of pissed, and he was pissed, and we got to the car. And here's the great part about this whole thing is he went upstairs after we were packing up, the cameras were packing up. He saw the commercial for Barter Kings. He ran back downstairs and said, "This is real. You guys are really on TV." And he asked for our autograph, and we signed 2 Playboys for him before we left. So it was the best justice that you could ever imagine. It was cool.
Is that the best thing he had to offer was a couple of Playboys?
Well, he scrambled because we were leaving. I mean, we were packed up. It was 15 minutes, and he sat down and started watching for the show and stuff like that to see if it was real. And sure enough, our commercial came on with the Storage Wars guys, Barry and Daryl, right when we were just turning the ignition on, and this guy went nuts, and he ran back downstairs, and I guess that's what he had on his coffee table, his Playboy. So he asked for 2 autographs, and it was cool. We all laughed. It was fun.
When you're out and about, do you get a lot of people that come up to you? They recognize you from the Barter King show.
It's funny because I go to my kids' school and nobody knows anything. They didn't know what to care. Nobody knows. But I go to Legoland or Vegas or amusement parks or restaurants, and it's pretty cool, man. It's probably more often than not now. People are starting to they bump their partner's shoulder and say hey, and then they say hi, and it's just cool. I mean, there's nothing cooler than that for a guy like me. At 40 years old now, all of a sudden I'm on TV.
Sure.
I mean, what the hell's going on? It's the coolest thing on the planet.
Well, I mean, and the show did really well in the ratings and everything. I was looking at that. It seems like you guys did some pretty good numbers for that too.
Yeah, it is a little disappointing for the second season. I mean, I think the highest we pulled was 1.7 million.
Yeah.
We were hoping for 1.8 to 2.2, and it got as low as I think 1.4 or 1.35. But I mean, it's in the top 50 of cable shows every single time it airs, and even the reruns at 11 and 1 are over 1 million viewers. So it's awesome. I mean, it's getting good reviews.
Well, I mean, and you talk about disappointment. I mean, I would think to myself, and I'm just some hack-ass, radio online kind of thing, but I got to think, man, if I had a TV show, if even 500,000 people were watching me doing whatever it is I do, I'd be pretty happy, man. That's got to be pretty awesome.
I use the word surreal because even after, a year and a half now, or however long it's been, a year,
right.
It's still surreal, Gary, dude. I swear I forget sometimes, and then, some guy's staring at me, and oh yeah, that's right, I'm on TV, and and then it all comes together, and hey, how you doing? I start talking to the guy, and we BS for 5 or 10 minutes, but I talk to every single person that feels the need or wants to talk to me, and I just appreciate. And I know this sounds, a little, I don't know what the word is, but it's just how I am, and I like meeting everybody that enjoys the show, so it's cool.
Definitely.
Cool.
Well, make sure that you guys connect with Steve on Twitter. That's at Barter King Steve, correct?
That is correct. And can I tell you one quick story before you hang up on me, Gary?
Absolutely. Let's do it, man. Hey, look, I was just trying to be respectful. I know you said, hey, 10 to 15 minutes. I was trying to go just a little bit before just to show you that, man, I'm not trying to, just stick around and get everything I can out of you. I really wanted to be respectful.
No, you're cool, man. Like Antonio says, dude, I like to talk, and I talk too much, but, I can live with that.
Let's have it, man. Let's have it.
This is just kind of a corny, cool story. Is at 40 years old, which is how old I am now, gosh dang it.
It's not that bad. Come on.
Yeah, I know. You finally you get on TV, and this is all happening and stuff like that, and you like to still think that you're cool, which your kids tell you you're not, but, you like to still think that you're cool, and,
sure.
Everybody has a little bit of ego, and everybody likes a little bit of attention. Well, I found that, this is speaking about demographic of the show, when I get out in public and stuff, I would have, a good-looking lady or whatever run up to me and just, she'd put her hands together and she'd, like, shake her fist, and I'd be going, oh, yeah, cool, so this chick watches the show, I'm cool, and she would look at me right in the eye, and 99% of them say, my husband wants to meet you so bad, and then she'd turn around, and then the husband would be standing 15 feet behind her, and, the husband would walk up and say, hey, my son and I watch your show every Wednesday. It's our bonding time.
Right.
And we, and that to me, Gary, that's the best feedback you could ever give a guy like me was dads and their 5 to 15-year-old son or daughter watch the show and bond. And that's the biggest compliment that I could possibly get. And I hear it way more than I ever expected. And now I'm hearing it almost every single time I bump into, a family. It's the coolest thing on the planet.
That is incredible. But, for a moment there, I was like, man, you have this nice woman approaching you. Maybe she's good looking. I don't know. I wasn't there, but, that whole thing. And
that's what I'm thinking, dude.
Yeah. Now, here's another thing I could ask you. Between you and Anthony, who seems to get more of that kind of attention? Is it kind of equal? Is there a little bit of a competition there? How does that all work out?
What's funny is you've seen the show, and you've seen the Chippendales episode, I'm assuming. I mean, he was a dancer for 13 years.
Right.
This guy's had his fair share of pretty much everything. It's on the record. His wife knows. I mean, there's no secrets.
Right.
But for the most part, when you have a friend that you're in business with, you never think, hey, this guy's good looking, or you just never, this never enters your mind.
Right.
Well, when the show finally came out, you finally realize every lady that comes in, they talk to me for 2 or 3 minutes, and then they cut the BS, and they finally say, is Antonio here? Well, can I meet Antonio? And they were just humoring me for the first 2 or 3 minutes because they want to meet Antonio and see him, and their daughter loves him, or they're in love, whatever. So Antonio would be the one that wins that whole competition thing.
Oh, sure. Man, that's a bummer. I can feel the pain when I did this, because this show that we're talking on now went away for about 3 years. We did 3 years. We did 163 episodes and wrapped up in 2010. Now we're back. And my former co-host, Alan, he was in Houston. I'm in D.C. We would do the show, from 2 different cities. This guy would get all the attention. I'd read the listener emails, and everything's Alan this, Alan that. There'd be other competitor shows that were saying, man, we'd love to have Alan on as a guest, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm sitting there saying, look, I know I'm a fat ass. I know I'm not entirely attractive, but come on, man. I started this show, and everybody's going for this guy. Unreal.
Throw me a bone, right? I mean, just, humor me, lie to me or something.
Something. I'm like, give me I cannot get a leg up on the competition with my partner at that time, and so you know what, Steve, I can feel your pain on that. Definitely. Yeah, even though there was a bunch of dudes that were looking for him.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Yeah, a bunch of dudes that hosted radio shows were trying to get his number.
Sweet revenge, right?
Exactly. So look, man, again, I want to encourage everybody to check you out on Twitter. Do you have an official website for your store that you guys advertise, or?
We have the pawn shop website, and I have some of the Barter King stuff on there, so everybody knows that it's Express Pawn It. I don't sell any merchandise on there for the most part because I can't keep up with the turn on merchandise.
Sure.
But it's got information. It's got some of the stuff that we've done. I have some T-shirts up for sale for a little while. We have, I was giving away at charities and stuff like that, and I am selling now with bumper stickers, and that's on B as in boy, KINGAS.com, but I'm not pushing those or anything like that. This is kind of there for the guys that, the real fans that really want to get a shirt or something. I have those up there for them. So that's about it, man. I'm not really pushing anything or doing anything like that.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure we can get the great listeners of this program to everything, Steve, everything Barter Kings. Let's keep hulking it up. Let's blow it up for you. And you've already got continued success, man. I'm a little bit starstruck myself. I got to be honest with you, for sure.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm serious. I watched the show. It's on my TiVo, and it's also on I have 5 DVRs in my home. I have 2 TiVos and 3 of the cable company issue stuff because the cable company is not too reliable. So I've got your show recorded on the regular one, but then I've got it recorded on the TiVo one in case the regular one fails, or vice versa. So, I got to make sure that I'm seeing the Barter King show on A&E. I've got to check it out. So I'm definitely a fan. I try to take that element out of the interview, but now that we're done with it, now that it's, in the can here, I've got to tell you, a big fan.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you very, very much, man. Again, this is a ride for me, and I'm enjoying it, so I appreciate everything that you say like that. That's awesome, brother.
Well, look, I want to wish you nothing but continued success. And, we've opened a line of communication here. So, anytime that you've got something, either you want to promote or hell, man, let's just get you back on and kind of shoot the breeze and talk a little more. We'd love to have you back, Steve. We really would.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate the open invite, and I wish you and every fan that you have and listener all the best, man, and to a great 2013.
Absolutely. Steve, you've been great, man. Thank you so much, and have a safe flight to Argentina.
I will, man. Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care.
All right, how cool was that? That was pretty cool, right? Steve, totally down to earth, awesome guy. You could see why I wanted to have him back on the show. So when I came calling again in August, he was very receptive to come back on the show, and I said, yo, you got to see if we can get Antonio on, and then we can get the both of yous on the show, and that's exactly what happened. Let me take you back now to August of 2013. Steve and Antonio of A&E's Barter Kings.
Joining us right now, we've got Steve and Antonio from A&E's Barter Kings, Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock. Guys, what's going on?
Everything.
Ba-bam!
Ba-bam!
It's so great to talk to you guys, man. And Steve, real quick, I'll jump to you first because you were on the show back in March, and people, they had such a good time checking out the show. They really enjoyed you on our program, and so we want to thank you, especially for coming on the first time, and now you're back. We got Antonio. We're glad to have him, and so it's just a good thing all around. We're happy to have you back on the program.
Dude, we're happy to be back, man. Some of your tweets and stuff and some of the company that you've had on the show that you put us with is flattering, to say the least, man. I mean,
really? Who was your favorite?
You had like Piscopo on there, and you had like 3 or 4 other ones. I'm looking through these going, man, these are famous people, and you're putting me with them, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a bunch of famous guys and a zero like me. That's exactly what it is. But look at you guys, man. Steve, Antonio, you guys, A&E Barter Kings. The show is back. back. Steve, when we talked to you last time, I think things were kind of in limbo, either that or maybe you couldn't speak on it at the time, but you guys are back. The show's back. Everything's looking good, man. Talk about this season and how the response has been so far.
Well, this season is a little bit different than last season because they're actually kind of slowing things down a little bit and allowing us to I don't know if you consider us funny or not, but allow us to be funnier, I guess. Sure. And kind of enjoy filming instead of rushing from one trade to another trade so that we can just film trades all day long. And they're letting us relax a little bit. And this season is the funnest thing that we've done so far. It's just amazing to be able to relax, talk to people, and actually have fun. Right. And it's enjoyable.
Antonio, what's been one of your highlights of filming this season so far?
We were able to go out of state again. We went to Utah, so I can't give you any specifics on it, but sure. We had a great time, really good time. I mean, some of the funniest stuff we've filmed so far is in Utah.
Very, very nice. Look, I've seen you guys on this show, and with this whole bartering thing, I mean, this thing has really gone nuts, Steve. And I've heard both of you guys, talking in other interviews about how this thing has really been on the rise. Tremendous. The bartering has been going like crazy. But how many days out of the week, how many hours are you guys putting in? At the level that you guys are at now. I mean, how much time a week are you guys spending doing bartering?
Well, to be 100% honest, when the show's not filming, we have two other things going on. We have a gun shop and a pawn shop. So when we're not filming, we only spend like 10 hours a week working on trades and stuff like that. And we have people come to us now because it's just too much to leave everything and go on the road. So when the camera crews come in, we take off and we go to houses and stuff like that. But we do most of the stuff from there. And then we have Diamond Dave now and Kendall, and they make 90% of the phone calls for us. So our days are just a lot different now.
Wow. I hearing all that, I mean, that just sounds like an incredible level of work. Antonio, how do you find the right balance between, your career and your family? Because I can imagine that this career's got to take up a lot of your time.
It does, but I've always been a worker, so they understand. I mean, to bring home the bacon, you got to work hard. So, but now that we filmed for this time I think it was just under 3 months. Right. So they understand, they enjoy it, and everything's good.
Right on.
I've just been watching the show, very new. Gary got me hooked on it. I saw some of his tweets. It's like, hey, you got to check out the Barter Kings. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check these guys out. And I just want to say I'm hooked. And I love it that I can go on to A&E's website and catch some of the old episodes. And one of my questions was, I know you guys say you only do this, 10 hours a week?
Now, yeah, it was before. It was like 5 days a week. And when we film, it's all day, every day.
Right. So I guess my question is, I know you guys show a lot of the deals that do happen and some of the ones that don't. Is there a lot more deals that don't happen that we don't see on the show?
Dude, 70% of what we do, it never even sees TV. I mean, we go to places, we get kicked out. In the beginning, we got kicked out. People didn't have no idea what was going on. We brought cameras and all this stuff, and they weren't ready for it. And I mean, 70% of the calls that we make are just people hanging up on us and, no, we don't trade, we don't want to do this, all negative stuff. And the show really doesn't show you that. There's some trades that they'll show you that we didn't make one, where we actually showed up to 5 or 6 places and didn't make the trades. And those never hit the air in the same episode. So you won't see that we spent 5 days trying to trade one thing. I mean, that's just never going to hit the air because of time.
Oh wow, that's I kind of thought that because I see a lot of these shows they'll show the good stuff, but then they won't show like what you just said, this stuff that the deals that don't happen, the bad stuff.
There's been so many crazy stuff, so many failures, so many crazy people we traded with. We wish they would show more of that because I'll tell you, there's been some times where we've just busted up laughing in total, just not understanding what just happened, and those to us are just the funniest stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So, is
it something to where are they cutting it out because they feel like it's not something that's good for TV, or is it more related to something bad happening off the camera? Why do you think they're cutting that out?
It's all time, Gary and Trish. It's all. I mean, they have maybe 2.5 minutes to get a scene in there. When we spent 2 hours somewhere, I mean, they have to cut it down to where it's just understandable
Right.
And and that's it. And then they have to leave the other 5 places that we went out and didn't make the trade. Otherwise, they need 2 hours to make an episode, and we never keep a viewer on on the line.
They should give you guys like an outtake show, and we can watch all the failed trades and the kooky people and all that stuff. That'd be riveting television.
I'll tell you what, I think that would be really successful. They made a blooper reel for one of our rap parties.
Oh, yeah?
It was the funniest thing we've ever seen. It was great.
One question I wanted to ask you guys, how common is it, for the people that ask you for, when you go and you say, what do you want to trade for this? And then they say, well, I'm kind of looking for this, but they don't really give you specifics. Kind of like the guy who wanted that ring in the first episode of this season. How often do you deal with guys like that?
Well, the guy with the Suzuki?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? We deal with that a lot. I mean, we go for a goal, and then we want to hit that goal. So trying to work that person who has our goal item, I mean, it could be many different things. I mean, that guy was actually pretty easy compared to some of the other stuff we run up against. Sometimes it gets hard.
I guess it's just how many years you guys have been doing it to try to just figure out or try to take a gamble, with guessing at what you think they might want. I mean, that's got to be pretty tough.
No, we usually get it out of them before we just go on a wild goose chase.
Right.
I mean, we have to get it out of them. Sometimes they might do it for TV a little bit differently, but we'd have to definitely, know exactly what we're going after.
Right.
One thing I saw was on the blog, the bkingblog.com, and this is something that kind of hit close to me because my dog we adopted from a rescue. We've had her for 8 years. She's a Stafford Bull Terrier, and I watched the episode on Tuesday when you guys bartered with the Bulldog. How much backlash? Because I got the blog up in front of me because I read it earlier about people that get all pissed off about bartering an animal or bartering a bulldog. How much backlash did you guys get from that?
Well, personally and directly, I don't think we got any. But on the internet, the world of crazy people,
yeah, those guys.
There's enough to merit, us taking it personally, which we can't. I mean, we understand that, but I mean, there's people that are seriously outraged at the fact that we went and traded a bulldog, and for some odd reason, we've done snakes, alpacas, and chickens, and all this other stuff before, and no one's got upset. And the bulldog community, for some reason, is at the end of the earth with this. I mean, they're ready to come to our houses and whatever they're saying, but they're really pissed off. We love animals. I mean, you saw the pictures of my Dobermans. I rescued those. I mean, everything that I do, animals are my biggest thing in my life. I love animals. I love my kids. I love my family. But I don't understand how that episode can be taken wrong, and it's just it's upsetting to me. I don't know about Antonio, but it's upsetting to me.
You know what? I really don't read those for that reason alone, but I just think it's ridiculous because people can sell dogs all day long, but you can't trade them.
Right.
It just didn't make sense to me at all,
Well, not to mention, I mean, you guys got a camera crew there. I mean, everything's, a lot of the stuff I'm sure is getting on tape. It's not like there's some shady, backdoor deals going on where you guys are, abusing these animals or mishandling. I mean, I'm sure, there's there's standards and practices and a legal team, and I'm sure all that stuff is protected anyway. So why they would be worried about it is beyond me.
They hired a full-time caretaker that was on set for 3 days. The guy was there for 12 to 14 hours a day with air conditioning, with water, and a tent. So anything that dog needed until we took care of the trade, that dog got. I mean, we were out in the sun. We didn't have air conditioning or water. And this dog was...
Yeah, right?
I mean, seriously, this dog was well taken care of. I mean, it was 5-star treatment. And they made sure that it was. I mean, in case we wandered off set or got in too long of a conversation, they had a caretaker there for the dog.
I think a lot of it is, Steve and Antonio, I think a lot of it is people, like on the internet. And that's, I think, where you get most of it is you get these people, they either have the blogs or, the Twitter tough guys or whatever you got. They want to be heard. They want to get the attention of famous people, and they want to just, try to beat them down and get their attention, whether it be Twitter or whatever. And I think ultimately they're looking for attention. I feel like half those people don't give a shit
what really happens with the animals. I think they really just want to get your attention and maybe think that they're going to rile you up and get you to, maybe say something to them. I mean, what do you think about that? You think there's something to that?
I do, Gary. I personally, most of these people are hiding behind an icon and not their own picture.
Right.
There's no description of where they live. And it's just, and everything that's on there is on their blog, their Twitter, or their Facebook is negative anyway.
Right.
And it's like they sit in the hole in the house and figure out things to be mad at all day. I mean, it's and then they pick on, people that are in the spotlight because of whatever emotions, whether it be jealousy or whatever. But it's just a weird thing, man. And I told you last time that the best part of the whole thing for me was my Twitter fans actually kind of helped me, because they're 98% positive, and it was an amazing thing, because one more time, I love my Twitter fans. I mean, it's the best thing on the planet.
Well, let's speak to that a little bit, because, I look at, you, Steve, and Antonio, and you guys on your Twitter, you're very active. I mean, I find it hard-pressed to find a lot of other shows, and there are some that, they have a couple cast members that are very active on Twitter, but you guys are very active. I mean, I see those retweets and interactions just blowing up, especially on Tuesdays, but I mean, you guys are very interactive. How important is that to you, Steve?
For me, it's super important because it helps me validate myself, unfortunately. So I function different than Antonio, and he can speak for himself, but he's kind of, we're just different. I mean, I validate the show by Twitter fans. I validate what I do by Twitter fans and people and interactions and stuff like that. It's kind of like a needy kid type thing.
Sure.
Well, it's just how I am, and it actually helps me through things when I get, going the wrong way, get, worn out or whatever, and I get one tweet from somebody, hey, my son loves your show. They'll send me a picture of something they did in school with Barter Kings on it, and if I don't do Twitter and I don't read that stuff, you don't get that stuff, and it's just stuff that helps me. So I'm active because it helps me too.
Right. Antonio, how do you process that differently?
You know what? I'm not as active as Steve is. I mean, I got one to every probably 20 of his tweets.
Right.
But I love tweeting. I mean, I love the fans on Twitter. I mean, especially, like Steve said, the people that have kids, a lot of people have kids with Tourette syndrome, that reach out to me, especially on Facebook. And I get such a great response to it, and it makes me feel incredible that I can be there in the limelight helping these people, seeing that I'm just an average guy with a disorder, that I can be on TV, that you could be successful, and that really makes me feel good.
Yeah, I think people look at that, whatever it may be, whether it be Tourette's or, anything else. I think people look at that, people that haven't, they say, look, this guy's on TV, he's very successful. This gives me hope. This, because there's a lot of people online that will beat people down verbally, and they want to make people feel bad because they've got, whatever disorder or disability or what have you. And it's good to have people, like you that are out there that can be positive and interact with these people and show them that, hey, it's okay. It's okay, whatever you have. Look at me, I've been able to do something with this, and you could do something too. It's not the end of the world that you have whatever it is that you have.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many people worse off than I am or they are, and they need to look at the positive side of it.
Right. Now, one other thing about interacting with the fans, when we were talking with Steve last time, Antonio, he told me that when it came to seeing people in person, that a lot of the women were looking more for you than him. Is that true?
I like to think so. Hey, oh, man.
I had to ask him, Steve. Don't hate me, brother.
Unfortunately, we laugh, but it's freaking true, dude.
I just put that aura out there, I guess.
Yeah, but I look at the show, and my girlfriend Steve, she's a big fan of yours, and she's like, man, look at Steve, he's ripped. Look at those guns, and she's like, 'cause she heard the other show, and she's like, no offense to Antonio, but Steve, he's got the guns. How come the women aren't looking for him? I mean, she's a big fan of yours.
Tell her I'm as cute as she is.
and to finish that thought, Antonio, Steve would tell us that, the women were looking for you, and then the guys, the fathers with the kids, which is something very cool. I mean, it's very cool that they're looking for you, but he would say, yeah, all the wives would come up and say, hey, my husband wants to meet you so bad. And we had a good laugh about it, Antonio. It was great.
We've had a great response. I mean, just everybody, from young kids to women to men. I mean, everywhere we go, we get somebody that just loves the show, and it just really makes you humble.
Right. Is there a point now where you guys are just out and about and you're just constantly, like, all day getting recognition? Has it gotten to that point yet?
Oh, yeah. For me, it has. Yeah, absolutely.
For you.
I hang out with Steve, and we get recognized all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. But, you talk about the woman thing. I mean, you guys are very much family guys, and you put that out there, and I think that's great. I mean, how, when you have women approaching you like that, and I don't know what things they may have said to you, but, like, how do you try to keep that balance, of trying to be a family man and trying to, maybe just be friendly to these people and to say, hey, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to come on to you or whatever, but I mean, how do you kind of just fend those kind of people off? How do you do that?
No, you know what? Fortunately, I have been pretty lucky, and we put off that, we both had anniversaries on the show.
Right.
And, we both, portray that we're family men, and we have beautiful wives, and we love them. I mean, and that a lot of people respect that, so It's played really well. They played that part really well in the TV series. So, I don't get a whole lot of people that actually come on to me.
You see that, Steve? I tried to set him up like he was the hottest thing going, and he just shot me down. I was trying to build him up like he had women all over this guy, like he just couldn't fight him off, and he just shot me down. That's okay.
He threw up a softball. He threw up a softball for you guys.
I know. I threw the softball, man, and you struck out. What's going on, man?
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to lie then. I have to beat women off, man. They're all over me everywhere I go.
Oh.
I don't even sound convincing, do I?
No, but
I love it.
But don't come to Virginia, because then I might have to fight you to get my chick to stay away from you, man. It's going to be tough.
Uh-oh.
I will tell you this, Gary. My wife, like we were just in Vegas for the last episode we filmed.
Yeah.
And when we walk to the hotel, I'm kind of in my own zone. I don't realize people are looking or talking, and I still forget that we're on TV. And my wife looks around, and if there's even a woman or whatever looking or talking, she'll go, "Yeah, that's him. Do you want me to take a picture with?" And she'll go grab the lady. She'll pull him over. She'll put him next to me, and she'll take the picture. I mean, she's just, life is short. She's cool, and she enjoys it too. So it's fun.
Well, that's cool that she can keep a level head about it.
Yeah.
I always wonder how that works. I mean, because like you guys, you're very recognizable. You're on television. How do your families, adjust to that? The kids, the wife. I mean, are they pretty, understanding with all the time that you're needed away from home and stuff like that?
My family has definitely been understanding. I mean, my kids love the popularity that gain in school, and it's fun. It's something different, something that you'll remember the rest of your life. So it's a small sacrifice for a great gain or something that's going to definitely you'll remember, and your kids will remember the rest of your life.
Definitely, Steve.
That was well said. I don't know if I can top that. The only thing my kids do different is they count what they call recognizers. So like, when somebody recognizes me or whatever, and they'll go, "That's one, Daddy," and then we'll get to 20. "That's 20, Daddy," and then however we end the day, they'll count how many people actually recognize me in the show, and so they have fun doing that.
I can kind of see how that happens. I'm a family guy myself. My wife and I have been married for 8 years this fall, and it's funny because we watch shows like when we watch shows like this and watch other shows, she'll see all the she's like, how do they deal with it? And I just think that's very well said by both you guys, that everybody's, all your families are real cool with it, and everybody's understanding, and the fact that you got the recognizer count.
It's just the ride could be another week or it could be another year, but it's most of the time reality TV is short, so we're just going to enjoy the hell out of what we can.
That's awesome, and I enjoy watching the show every Tuesday, and I got my my DVR collection is built up because I just had to record the entire season, so I'll have plenty of shows to keep me busy.
Don't miss next week. Next week starts Utah, and you're going to absolutely love that one. It's probably one of the funniest ones yet.
I love the Congo drums guy. That guy cracked me up.
The guy with the snake?
Oh no, no, not the snake guy.
JD.
The stoner guy.
Oh, JD. Oh. There was some stuff they didn't show that guy did that was so funny. I don't think they were allowed to show it. But
What happened?
It was really. He took his shirt off at the end and started playing the bongo drum. It was just great, man. There was some funny stuff that guy. He talked about a lot of stuff.
Oh,
But
wow.
like Steve said, they had to cut it down to, just a couple minutes because we were probably there for an hour and a half, and that guy was the funniest guy I've ever met.
Wow.
If you guys ever do put out the Barter Kings DVD, you got to have like the like an outtakes or like an entire disc of just the stuff like that. That would be hilarious.
We're begging for it, man.
What you're talking about going to somebody's place for like an hour and a half. I mean, what's the longest that it's ever taken to trade something? So like you go to somebody's house, how long would you go there and like negotiate? What's the longest you ever been there?
9 hours.
No, come on now. Now you're pulling my chain.
I'm not. It is a true story. It might have been 8, but what happens is it takes the camera guys like 45 minutes to set up. Then
Sure.
we get into the trade, we start talking about business and stuff like that, and all of a sudden now you got to go to lunch. And sometimes we didn't even finish getting to the second item until lunch because maybe the sun goes behind a tree or something,
Right.
and they go, hey, and they pull us apart and they put us on separate sides of the driveway or whatever. We were at one place for almost 8 hours because of rain, sun changing direction, and all that stuff. Yeah. It's something that audience doesn't understand. When things change, we have to stop and then remember kind of where we're at.
Right.
And sometimes we forget that we did or didn't have a deal that takes so long between raindrops and stuff. So we're at 8 hours at one place.
But like the person that you're trading with, are they cool with that? I mean, are they able to stand there as long as you are?
Yeah, so far it's been okay. I mean, we've had a couple people complain, but the people want to do their trade on TV and they want to see themselves on TV. So people have been pretty patient. We've got it down and now to where the actual trade doesn't take that long. It takes like maybe 15, 20 minutes. But by the time, like Steve said, you set up the cameras and you get everything right, and you do it over and you do wide shots and all that. We've gotten it down to about 2 hours, maybe 3 at the most now.
Wow, man.
But in the beginning, when we first started,
Right.
yeah, it took some time.
Now, when you guys go to film a season, you mentioned there's a lot of stuff that gets cut. Do you have like a set number in mind of how many trades you're going to try to shoot for, or how do you plan that out? I mean, how many trades do you have in mind that you're going to do for any given season, and then how much actually gets cut?
It usually takes anywhere from 5 to 8 trades to hit that goal item.
Right.
And so, usually 1 to 3 get cut, maybe.
Right.
So, but we do a lot of trades that do get cut, and a lot of trades that never even make it. So, sometimes it gets a little discouraging, but we've done hundreds and hundreds of trades.
Yeah. Well, you guys are pros at it. One of the things I asked Steve that I'm glad we got you, Antonio, so I can ask you now. What was one of the, let's say, the strangest trades you ever dealt with in your entire, career of trading? What's the strangest or weirdest one that you ever dealt with?
Well, there's been a lot of them, but the strangest person, I got to say, is that the chick that was on the first episode of this season.
Oh, God, the ring woman?
Yeah.
Oh, man, she just left us standing there, and we must have stood there for 15 minutes waiting for her to come out, and she never came out.
Oh, my God.
That was probably the strangest person. We actually ran into somebody in Utah kind of like that, too, so just kind of left us hanging there, But the strangest, it was crazy. Just the strangest trade, or the weirdest trade I ever did was that big python snake. That thing was hungry and agitated, and that guy fed that thing a rabbit. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen anything eat a rabbit like that in my entire life, and that was probably the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, my
So,
God.
and I'm not that scared of snakes, but watching that thing eat something, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that snake freaked me out. I mean, Steve, I've been right there with you, man. Just staying back. I'm like, Antonio, do the deal. I'll be back here.
That thing had so much power, it was hard to hold it because when it started slithering in your hands, this thing was crazy. It was a 14-foot snake. I mean, it probably weighed 125, 130 pounds.
I thought it was funny when you guys were going to trade the snake and the guy came out with that tiny ass aquarium.
This for little Willie.
Right.
That was a great episode. I love that. That guy he really freaked out when he saw that snake, man. That was great.
One quick thing about that girl from the I guess it was the first episode. When she said, you guys had said something that led her to say something about a boob job or something like that. I'm sitting there with my chick. We're watching it. I had to rewind that back because I swear I thought she said blow job, and I was like, what?
Everybody's been emailing us and Facebooking and Twitter. Everybody thinks the same thing, but
there's no way A&E would put that on the air.
Right? I think every one of my friends must have texted me and Facebooked me and said, dude, did she say blowjob?
Well, and the reaction on your guys' face led me to think that, whoa, maybe she did say blowjob. And I mean, I don't know. She looked like a crazy bitch. Like she might be up to some shady practices.
She was definitely crazy.
I look back. I think it was season 2 where you guys traded up for the plane. That blew me away. Is that the biggest ticket item that you've ever traded up to, Antonio?
No, we've done other stuff. I mean, I've done a lot of cars, stuff before the show, and stuff that never made it. Also, we've done.
Yeah.
But in that season, it was the biggest ticket item.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned cars. Like, I guess there are probably a lot of cars out there that are worth a lot more than that plane, but I don't know. It's just something in your mind where you think plane, you're like, holy crap, that must be like really, really expensive, and it's just wild, man. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it was a great trade. Going to Georgia was a great experience. The people in Georgia were great. We had a really good time.
Very cool. Have either one of you done any trades here in Washington, D.C., perhaps?
I have.
No.
I had to ask.
We know if you guys go to Washington, D.C., you have to swing through St. Louis first because it's like, it's on the way.
That's where Chris is at, yeah. He's in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to get you guys out. I'm sure I can find something, maybe some kind of small item, to trade or something. There's got to be something that maybe you guys want to trade for. I don't know.
We start with pretty much anything.
Yeah. What I mean, when you say anything, let's turn this around now. What is something of, like, let's just say the smallest, most least value item that you've ever, started out a trade with and got to something, really cool?
It was the episode where I started with a helmet and did the Marilyn Monroe wine and ended up with the smoker for the sale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was in our shop. That's a $40 to $60 helmet. So if you take $50 and you start with that, and that wine it wasn't really worth $3,000. It was appraised at $3,000, but I mean it was legitimately a $1,200 to $1,800 bottle of wine. That was the cheapest starting item I've ever started with and been that successful.
Wow, Antonio.
You know what? Not on TV, but I started with a shovel, a $15 shovel, and ended up with a $20 trailer, and that was probably one of my best ones.
Nice.
Worked my way up. It took me 3 months to do it, but persistence, and I did it.
Very cool.
That's awesome. And I also have to say, I'm glad that neither one of you guys got tased. I don't know if that was. I'm glad you guys, when you guys met the guy at the storage facility, and he wanted to test out the taser.
Oh yeah, he was serious about that too.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
that wasn't a bit for TV?
No, not at all, man. That guy was he was really serious about tasing one of us.
Oh wow.
We had to talk him out of it.
So I saw the look on your faces. I think I had the same look. I'm like, oh shit, they're not going to tase one of these guys.
I thought one of you guys might have taken that taser. I thought maybe one of you guys were going to take it.
Yeah, it's easy for me.
I was hoping Steve would have.
Steve, yeah, you got the big muscles, bro. You couldn't take that? Come on.
I would have gunned them, man, but they talked me out of it.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
You got to ask Antonio his tase story. In the end scene, he goes, "I got tased before. Ask him how."
Oh well, Antonio, do tell, my friend.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you the short version, but
sure.
I've got tased with one of those guns before, and it's not fun. It just incapacitates you like nothing else. I don't know if you guys ever been tased before, but I walked into an airport. I have a concealed weapons permit, so I carry a gun on me.
Right.
And I walked into forgetting that I had the gun on me. I walked into an airport,
Uh-oh.
and gave up the gun, but for some reason they thought I was resisting arrest.
Oh,
and I
wow.
just had shoulder surgery, so they told me to get on my knees, and a guy came up behind me and tried to put me in handcuffs, but I just had shoulder surgery, so I automatically pulled out of it
Right.
because it was hurting my shoulder.
Right.
And that's when they tased me, so they thought I was resisting arrest, and I was flopping on the ground like a flounder out of water. I'll tell you what, I would never do that again.
I take it this was post 9/11?
Yeah, it is definitely post 9/11.
Oh, my God. That's wild, man.
I thought it was bad when I got pulled out of line at the airport just so they could check my ID. Holy crap! Never been tased before. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful.
Yeah. I think everybody should experience being tased and being maced. Those are two things that everybody should experience.
Wait. Have you been maced before too, Antonio?
Yeah, I got maced before.
Oh, come on. Okay, now you got to tell us that story.
A couple times. I was young, man. I was young. I was in a pizza parlor, and I was cocky. I was, working out, big guy, and this little nerdy guy like bumped into me and didn't say excuse me. I'm like, watch it, dude. He's all, well, let's take it outside. I'm like, let's go, man. So me and my buddies went outside, and this guy maced us. We couldn't see anything, and he's like, now I'm gonna kill you. Oh man. I'll tell you what, when someone maces you, you can't breathe or see.
Right.
You start finding a place to hide. I hid underneath a car for, I think, 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, my God.
That was the scariest thing. That was scarier than getting tased.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's
needless to
intense.
say, yeah. I think everybody should experience those two things.
Oh, man.
So, you wouldn't have to worry about guns.
Yeah.
Everybody worried about tasers and mace is what they'd be worried about.
Oh, my God. Steve, do you have any kind of crazy stories like this? I have to hear at least one.
I lived through Antonio. I have nothing, man. I mean, he's had every, and remember, this is a guy that has Tourette and 9 stents in his heart, getting tased at an airport floor.
Jeez.
I don't have anything that compares to that, man. I just keep quiet while he talks.
So he's got the wild stories, and he's got the women. He's got all this stuff.
Yeah, everything happens to me, man. I don't know why. I'm either the luckiest guy or the dumbest guy in the world.
Oh man, that's
I get to
unreal.
experience everything.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So I mean, it's man, I don't have any crazy stories like that to share. I mean, I've got my ass kicked plenty of times, but never been tased or anything like that. I don't know. Ugh, maybe if you guys need somebody to be tased for the show, you know what? Call me up. Tell A&E to fly me out there. I'll take a tasing for you guys. I'll take the tasing.
Cool.
Why not?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Tell A&E, first class, only the best hotels, and I will absolutely be there on a weekend and take a good tasing. Why not, right?
You got it. We'll see what we can do, man.
I'll even be a snake babysitter if you guys, because I know Steve doesn't like a snake, but I'll babysit the snake if I have to. I don't care.
Hey, there you go, Antonio. Tell him, pick Chris up. He'll be your snake handler guy.
Yeah.
There you go. The snake tamer. Sounds good.
Very good.
You got to face your fears sometime, right?
That's right.
No.
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 Is a snake the thing you're most afraid of, Steve, or is there something else that you fear more than snakes?
I can handle snakes for the most part. Just don't get me close to them. I mean, but heights, I've never, ever got over my fear of heights, ever.
Really?
I can't. Yep, I can jump off a one-story roof, but I can't stand on the edge of a one-story roof.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is, but I can't stand on the edge of anything that's high. Or ladders or anything. It's the weirdest thing.
What about roller coasters? Can you do that?
I can go on a roller coaster. I don't like them, but, with my kids and all that stuff, I do go on them.
Sure.
But I can't stand on the platform and look over the edge.
Yeah, I kind of the same thing. For me, because my wife asked me the same thing, and she's like, well, how can you can go on roller coasters, and I love roller coasters. And she's like, how can you do that? But then for whatever reason, like if I get on a ladder, like do something on the house, I start shaking like crazy.
Right.
Wow.
I get that too sometimes.
Yeah, it's I just can't stand. I can't do this. Forget it. But I'll go on like a 30-foot roller coasters and all that, hang them like bungee swings at the amusement park or whatever. But I'll do that stuff. I'll do that stuff. But get me on a ladder, forget. I start shaking maybe it's just the control thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd rather get tased or maced than go on one of the scary roller coasters.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. So you fear the roller coasters, Antonio. Is that
Whoa.
true?
Yeah, I'm not a roller coaster. I could do the log ride, but that's about it. man.
That thing's like, what, 3 stories up?
You can tase me any day.
Really? Wow, that's incredible. Even like a 100-foot coaster, you can't do that 100
I
feet.
can't do a roller coaster, man.
Oh, man, that's a bummer, man. I mean, I've actually gotten a little bit out of shape, so I can't actually get on them anymore, but I used to love them, man. I mean, they used to be a fun thing.
Yeah, my kids like them, but I'm not for them at all.
They don't say, Daddy, come and ride the roller coaster with us?
No, you know it's weird. Over the holiday, over the summer, we had an opportunity to film in Catalina, so we took our families on a vacation to Catalina.
Right.
And Steve being scared of heights, I watched him on a parasail go 600 feet in the air.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I didn't do it. I wasn't about to get on it.
Man, that sounds like fun, though. I you know about this. I was on vacation last week, and I was down in Charleston. I finally, for the first time, was dragged by a speedboat on like a little raft going like 50 miles an hour. Now, that was a thrill right there. Have you guys ever done that, either one of you?
Oh, yeah. That's pretty fun.
I actually found that wiping out was more fun than actually staying on it and going for the ride. Wiping out was way
That's
funner.
awesome.
Well, look, you guys have been so gracious with your time, and I do appreciate it. Now, before we go, let's do this proper. I mean, you guys have some Twitter accounts that you want to plug, and you got your website. Steve, let's start with you. Go ahead and plug, your Twitter, your website, whatever you got. Let's get people to everything that you've got going on.
That's cool. The Twitter is Barter King Steve. Pretty easy. The blog website is bkingblog.com. And the only thing that we really got, we got the pawn shop website, which is Express Pawn It, but that's not about the trading and stuff like that. It's just got some Barter King stuff on there.
Right.
But the main thing, the only thing that we're really doing to make any type of money that might make a difference is we have the Antonio special ringtones now, the Bam Nippon Gaki and stuff like that. So yeah, they're awesome. So if you have an iPhone,
I do.
You can get those on iTunes. Or if you have an Android, you can get those on Google Play, and they're awesome. They're funny.
Ah, man, I'm going to go right now.
Now we're talking the Android. Boom.
Chris has got the Android. I've got the iPhone. We're going to have a natural battle here in the future because we just got Chris on the show. So he and I are going to have a battle between the iPhone and the Android. Now, Antonio, obviously you've got your Twitter. What do you want to plug while you're here?
You know what? Just I'd like to plug everybody to go to the Tourette Syndrome Association. It's got a lot of good stuff on it, and my Twitter handle is it's Barter King Ant, A-N-T, Barter King Ant.
There you go.
And you can go on Facebook, Antonio Palazzola.
Very, very cool. Yeah, well, the show is Barter Kings, A&E, every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. And guys, like I said, you've been so great with your time. I want to thank you guys for coming on. When you do internet radio, it's not always easy to get, people from cable TV and movies and things like that. So the fact that you guys would take your time and come on our show, it really means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Chris. So I just want to thank you guys again for coming by. And we've actually just got, I'm actually kind of breaking news here on this very show. We've actually got some new shirts, and I want to send some shirts out to you guys if you're cool with that, and maybe get you guys to rock that, maybe like in a picture or something. But I'd like to take care of you guys and send a couple of shirts out to you guys if that's cool.
That would be awesome. Man.
Very cool.
We'll rock it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Ba-bam! Let me get one of those before we go. Ba-bam! Very cool. Well, Steve, Antonio, thank you guys so much for the time. Best of luck with Barter King Season 3 and hopefully many more out there. And we'll see you guys out there on Twitter and everything you guys got. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Well, there you have it. What a fun show. It was awesome to talk with those guys. I remember being so nervous back in the day, and I still get nervous to this day. Anytime I talk to anybody for this podcast, period, I don't give a damn if they've been on TV or not. It doesn't matter. I still get nervous. I still get the butterflies in my stomach because I love what I do here, and this is the most fun that I've ever had, was coming on here and just running my mouth. So
With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. I do appreciate it. I'll be back on Wednesday with a regular show. Thank you for the support. We'll talk soon. See ya.